Our big focus debate, in fact, this hour is on now, of course, another very significant story between India and, of course, Bangladesh, as well as a larger fallout on this entire South Asian region. Last week, when the Indian foreign policy establishment was busy handling the aftermath of the face off with China on the northern frontier, a meeting took place in Dhaka with sources in both Delhi and Bangladesh capital think has the potential to change the status quo across India's eastern border. On July the 1st, Imran Ahmad Siddiqui, Pakistan's High Commissioner in Dhaka, met the Bangladesh Foreign Minister A.K. Abdul Memen, we are being told, in the Foreign Ministry office of the Bangladeshi capital. The Bangladesh Foreign Minister did not issue any statement about this meeting. The Pakistan High Commissioner, though, shared a photograph on Twitter and told a Turkish news agency that he expected further improvement in bilateral relations between the two countries. Meanwhile, this meeting, of course, comes at a time when India was tackling China on one hand and Nepal on the other. New Delhi has always counted the Sheikh Hasina-led government as, of course, a trusted friend of India's. But what does this really mean for our relations going ahead? Well, we have a special panel joining us on this. Dr. Deepak Vora, former diplomat, is live with us. Major General Dhruv Katur, security analyst, is also joining us live. Sumit, political analyst, also live with us. And Professor Badab Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, joins us as well. Let me begin with you first, Professor Nalapat. What do you really make of this meeting, which is now heavily, of course, being reported and come to the fore, but actually took place very secretly? What significance do you attach to it?
Well, I'd like to say that any meeting that is now as widely publicized as this cannot anymore be secret. And if there was really some very important diplomacy taking place, I don't think the Pakistani diplomat would have been so indiscreet as to leak the details before things get worked out. I want to remind you, Uday, that in Bangladesh, there's a strong lobby of people who participated in the genocide of their own people on behalf of the Pakistan army right in the 1960s and 70s. There was genocide in Bangladesh, horrible genocide, and hundreds of thousands were killed by the army. I mean, a large number of them were in the minority Hindu population, but significant elements were there in the Muslim population as well. So, in Bangladesh, there were a large number of people who supported Pakistan and Pakistani forces in the genocide of their own people. And unfortunately, in the political sphere also, there are some individuals and groups who are essentially, in a sense, controlled, if I may say so, by their nostalgia for the old rule of the Pakistan military. Mm-hmm. So this is not a surprise, but I would be very surprised if either the current Prime Minister of Bangladesh or the people of Bangladesh will ever forget what happened to them, and as a consequence of the dastardly actions of the Pakistan forces. And again, Uday, for the 1,000th time, let me tell you, I am really sorry to see not one of these 93,000 Pakistan troops was held to account for the immense human rights violations and genocide that they committed. They were all given a free pass, and I think this is not a chapter in our history that we can be proud of.
And Sumit Peer, this also comes soon after China has granted a tariff waiver to Bangladesh. Interestingly, which also took place last month. It was on the cards for a very long time. Interestingly, the timing was very interesting. It happened just a day after the Galwan clash. A tariff waiver of quite a huge proportion to Bangladesh. And now this meeting as well. What should be read into it, Sumit?
I think, Uday, when you look at these geopolitical developments, first of all, geopolitical situation is never constant. It's a changing affair. Though when we talk of Bangladesh, we consider Madam Sheikh Hasina as our friend and a tested friend because of our blood and life relations with India. We know the unfortunate incident of assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and how did Madam survive. That all is history now. Let's not get into that. But now what has changed? You have seen the Chinese influence coming from Ladakh, Nepal, then to Bangladesh. And what you rightly mentioned, I was on the show with you about this, wherein 95% of the Bangladeshi goods are getting tariff waiver from China, and the Bangladesh came up, it can double our exports to China. But let me give you a startling fact, Uday. You'll be amazed to know that the total trade between Bangladesh and China is $14 billion. And, exports of Bangladesh to China is just $0.86 billion. So even if they double, they will reach maybe $2 billion. Still, they will, the trade deficit will be 1,200 times, right? It will be 1,200 times, or it's 120 times or 1,200 times, because when you look at a 2 billion to 14 billion figure, it's not going to help Bangladesh in any way. It's a ploy done by China to kind of to manifest its way into it, to give a impression to the people of Bangladesh. Look, we are doing something for you. We are trying to help you economically. Look, they will also give us some aid in the time of COVID. And what Professor Nalpat rightly said, there is a very, very strong lobby, even which has influence and access directly to the madam right now, and they can influence a lot of things. And over that time, these people are infiltrated. What Pakistan is doing, Pakistan is playing the local fiddle of China and trying to see what it can do to please its masters in China. But this trade thing and all is not going to help Bangladesh, because it doesn't really matter. If your trade deficit is out of 14 billion, you have a trade deficit still 12 billion, it's not going to help you as a nation, as an economy of Bangladesh. So this has to be exposed to the whole world, and the people of Bangladesh should know exactly what is Chinese help worth of. But what comes into the Chinese debt traps, the Chinese road initiatives, if they are not able to pay, then they will get the control and the administrative, so-called administrative access to those roads. And Pakistan is exactly playing what the master has to say. So, but the fact remains, Uday, geopolitical situations change, and nothing, as far as New Delhi is concerned, should be taken for granted. Though we
Ambassador Vora, also, this comes at a time when Nepal has also suddenly soured relations with India. This is obviously an attempt by China to circle India. Vis-a-vis, of course, China on the northeast.
It's a part of that design, Uday, because it moved in a circle. Ladakh, then we talked about Nepal, then we talked about Bangladesh.
Yes. But will Bangladesh go all the way? These are attempts, Ambassador Vora, which are being made. Pakistan, we know the relations with China now. We've of course seen their true face. Nepal, until Holi remains, they're clearly not going to be friendly relations, but they're attempting it with Bangladesh as well. So far, we've always counted the Sheikh Hasina-led government as our trusted friend. Can that trust continue?
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh, for this opportunity to be on your program again with such outstanding people like Professor Nalapa, General Katoch, and Mr. Peer. I learn always when I interact with them. Let me just tell you very briefly, this is not a zero-sum game that we are playing. As Professor Nalapat has pointed out very, very correctly, I've been to Bangladesh a dozen times, sir, beginning soon after its liberation. When we talk to them at conferences and others, we ask a question, who are you? They turn around and say, well, we're Bengalis. We're also Bangladeshis. And oh, yes, we're also Muslims. There are some radical elements who think that Bangladesh is low-hanging fruit on the Islamic tree. They're going to be sorely mistaken. They're just so proud of their ethno-nationalism, the Bengali identity, culture, and language, and rightly so. They are very, very proud of it. They are not going to succumb to this kind of nonsense. Sir, let me also remind you that the dissolution of that artificial construct called Pakistan did not begin in 1971. It began in 1948 when that character who claimed to be the founder of Pakistan said that Urdu is going to be the only official language of that artificial state. And then the revolution began, the revolt began, the resistance began. 1952, massive massacre. 1970, you might recall, sir, that there was this cyclone appropriately named Cyclone Bhola, the worst in Bangladesh's history, 500,000 people killed. What did the Pakistani military-led government, led by that character, Yahya Khan, what did they do? Oh, sorry, guys, sorry that you've had some deaths, but we are very busy with other things. Now, all this adds up, sir. Remember that next year we'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the liberation, the creation of Bangladesh. There are still people in their 60s and 70s who do not forget that they were treated as a colony. So I would not read too much into this kind of nonsense. This is being highlighted by a few people to drive a wedge if they can, or at least put in throw a pebble into a glass and shake it violently and think that they're making a lot of noise. The Bangladeshis know, sir, and I think Professor Nalapat will bear me out, they've been treated as a colony. And people saying that Bangladesh is going to listen to Pakistan and rejoin Pakistan, well, happy birthday. I'm not sure how many Indians would say we want to go back and become a colony of the British. I have seen this, I've seen it in Sudan. South Sudan broke away because it was treated as a colony. I've seen this in Ethiopia, Eritrea. Eritrea broke away for similar reasons. I've seen this in Pakistan, Bangladesh. You don't overcome the lessons of history unless you have severe Alzheimer's disease. You don't forget them so easily. So I wouldn't read too much into it. It's no longer a secret meeting. Pakistan is in no position to help anybody, sir. Bangladesh's per capita is higher than Pakistan. Mine is twice that of Bangladesh in PPP terms. What are we talking about? Bangladesh understands. Bangladesh doesn't have a land border. It's not a neighbor of Pakistan. It's my neighbor. And they understand that their future lies in friendship with India. Yeah, chota mota pinprick chalta rahega. I mean, Pakistan has learned the lesson that when you create a monster and you feed it blood, after a while the monster turns on its creator, Frankenstein, says, buddy, I don't get any more blood, I need yours. Bangladesh saw the same thing with the Dhaka bakery attack and all the terrorist attacks that have been taking place. They have learned their lesson. They are smart people. Their future, even though they have removed the word secular and they are an Islamic country, their future lies in friendship with India. I rest my case.
Major General Katoch, do you really believe that these meetings that Pakistan is attempting in Dhaka can cut much ice with the Bangladeshis? Do you believe that Bangladesh will turn its back on India because of this Pakistan-China nexus?
No, you see, as of now, we have got the Awami League in power, with Sheikh Hasina as the Prime Minister. Right, so there is a tremendous amount of goodwill and support within Bangladesh for India. But I will impose a great deal of caution in what is happening. And I will give you a few reasons why. You see, in 71, now we are talking about next year, December, will be the 50th anniversary of the Liberation War. We have had two generations come out of young kids who have no idea what their ancestors went through. Right? You speak to a college-going kid, he'd say, okay, there was a war, we won it. That's it. So to presume that there will be any sense of connect as far as 71 is concerned, except for the stalwarts, and I've written a book on this with a close friend of mine from Bangladesh, Colonel Sajjad, right? But he tells me the same thing. There is no connect, so I will leave that bit out. But I want to go for the cautionary aspects. You see, in 1975, a coup took place in Bangladesh, and the military took over. And for 15 years, from 1975 to 1990, was the military rule. Now, what the military did to gain legitimacy was to take support of the Jamaats and other Islamic fundamentalist groups. Now, when they took their support, they gave them legitimacy. It has taken very long for the Awami League really to break that nexus, and it took them nearly 45 years to hang those criminals, which Professor Nalpat spoke about, those criminals who are from Bangladesh. I'm not talking about the Pakistan army. They are, of course, I've got no doubts about it, that we went badly wrong in not imposing war crimes on the Pakistan military. But I'm talking about the common at that time, the East Pakistani citizen who went against his own people and was party to the murder, the rape, and the genocide. And it took Sheikh Hasina a great deal of courage and about a post 45 years to actually hang some of them. So this is one part of it. So, Pakistan is going to make their attempts, and we should think that because of 71 or because of friendship or because Bangladesh is, and yes, they've got very strong language affinity, they are Bengalis, but just because of that, they are going to be friendly. No, we have to be careful and we have to nip the evil in the bud. This is one. Secondly, I'm looking at a different issue now. You see, what is happening is, and I want to take it to Kashmir on the other side. Pakistan and China, in my view, have got stumped in Kashmir. They don't know how to take the narrative forward, especially post 370, right? They are not in a position to create those disturbances which they were able to do earlier. And now I think the focus is shifting to the east. Now, what has happened in the east, if you notice recently, just a few days back in Arunachal Pradesh, I think in Khonsa district, 6 of these NSC and IM cadre were killed by the Assam Rifles. Just a few days back, in an Assam Rifles operation, a cache of arms was discovered in a village. I think China is going to rake up or try to rake up disturbances in the northeast. That is why what you are seeing in Bangladesh is not simply the Pakistani ambassador meeting the foreign minister of Bangladesh. I'm seeing a Chinese hand in this also. So we are looking at a nexus which is trying to be formed. It may not be a strong nexus as of now, but that is precisely the reason why we should actually be concerned and ensure that this doesn't bloom. Once you have these Islamic fundamentalist parties or political Islam gathering steam, and please take it from me, even the Awami League requires support of some of these parties, besides the BNP. The BNP is, of course, in bed with them. So even the Awami League requires their support. We need to be very careful. We cannot just take it as if all is good and well. So long as we are careful about it, I think we can handle it. We can also handle the Northeast and we can handle Kashmir. So I don't think there is a problem that way, so long as we are aware of what is happening on the ground. Our diplomacy, our diplomats, our internal agencies and the security forces, plus the political establishment, is quite capable of handling it.
If we talk about this Bangladesh relationship, Professor Nalapat, what do we stand to gain from it and what do we stand to lose if the Bangladeshi government, even though we have full trust in Sheikh Hasina, per se, as of now, turns its back on us?
You know, across the world, what is going on? And what is going on is an existential battle between Wahhabism, which wrongly proclaims itself to be Islam, and the moderate Muslim majority. The moderate Muslim majority has suffered greatly because of the growth of Wahhabism, and it was funded by petrodollars. Now, frankly, a lot of those petrodollar flow has become much less. But even then, the Wahhabis are an extremely well-funded and deadly lobby. Pakistan is the darling of the Wahhabi international. They love Pakistan and the Pakistan military. It is basically a military for the Wahhabi international all over the world and doing what the Wahhabis love, which is this kind of warfare which the Pakistan army specializes in, and which the general knows exactly what they're trying to do in Kashmir and other locations. So I only want to say the people of Bangladesh, they are now getting more prosperous. In fact, Bangladesh is doing even better than India. So we are seeing a reverse flow of Bangladeshis back to Bangladesh. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some Indians moving across the border to Bangladesh because the economy is doing very well. Why is it doing well? Because Sheikh Hasina represents the modern, moderate face of Islam, which is the true face of Islam. So, frankly, I'd like to say, let the Pakistanis do their worst. They have not learned from the lessons of history. But what is again important in this, very important, India needs to stand with the genuine Muslims of Pakistan against the Wahhabi establishment that is choking them. We need to stand with the genuine Muslims in Balochistan, in Sindh, in Pashtunistan, and even in parts of Punjab against this Wahhabi international.
But what's also, indeed, this is of course an anti-moderate Muslim lobby that's at work, but this is also an anti-India lobby that's at work, Sumit, which is something that we're going to need to guard against.
You see, Uday, it's very clear that this lobby is funded, they are powerful. I have been maintaining always, you cannot now, whatever we do, whatever we believe, and wherever we go after 15 June, you have to budget in China, you have to budget in China's money, you have to budget in China's influence. During the prime of this phase of Ladakh, didn't Xi Jinping call Sheikh Hasina and ordered, offered her some $50 billion road projects and all? There were even talks of some mega 500 billion projects being talked with Bangladesh. I don't know Global Times said it is true or not, but I'm sure of the 50 billion one. So with their economy, when they need money, and if Sheikh Hasina doesn't go for the Chinese, date, I would say, no, you have to factor in Khalda Zia, you have to factor in Jamatis, and you have to follow the Islamists. And what General Saab rightly said, there's a new generation of people which has come up. Uday, instantly have visited Bangladesh numerous times over the last 10, 15 years. What I've seen, the perception around India changing, and I will be very candid in admitting one thing on your show, sir. After the nationalist BJP has taken over, they feel it as the emergence of a kind of a Hindu dominance in India, and they and a lot of people in Bangladesh are not comfortable with it. Though, and you have seen in the time of CAA, there have been some sense of resistance and resentment which has come from Bangladesh also. So you have to balance these subtle changes which are at work. There are undercurrents which are at work. I told you, life and blood connect with Miss, Sheikh Hasina is there. I mean, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is there. We liberated them. That is there. But generations change, geopolitics changes, and interest change. And don't forget, Uday, China has a lot of money to burn. I would not say offer. I would say burn. China can burn a lot of money, and this is what Pakistanis are doing. They are just following their master. If the master instructs them, go and meet the Bangladesh foreign minister or a home minister or a prime minister, the Pakistani ambassador will do Ashtang Pranam to do that. That is what we have seen. We have to, I agree with the General Saab, we have to tread with caution, because after losing face in Ladakh, in Kashmir and all, they will open few more counters. So because, budgeting that China factor, direct, indirect, with money, without money, with all kinds of things, is a way of life, and we have to be very, very careful it, because China will come and hit you where they can.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, Bangladesh should realize that this is just a temporary overture, isn't it, the Ambassador Bora, that they're getting from China and Pakistan, given the current geopolitical situation. China and Pakistan are not going to be looking out for them, nor do the Bangladeshis stand to gain much from this friendship, even if it does materialize.
As General Katocha said, Professor Analpat and Mr. Peer, yes, we need to be careful, but that doesn't mean that we need to panic. There is absolutely no reason for us to panic. They have nothing in common. I mean, it's great fun that a self-professed atheistic country like China is now encouraging Islamism. Where does this kind of nonsense stop? And I think the Bangladeshis understand what they have to gain from partnership with India, sir. One is the connectivity that they can provide to us for the northeastern states. They're able to ensure peace and stability there. And then India is able to help in a number of areas that are of vital importance to Bangladesh. The number of students from Bangladesh who come to study in India, the number of their patients who come for medical treatment here, they are not going to surrender it in the expectation of some gain in the distant future. Whatever they are, the Bangladeshis are not masochists. They don't wish to hurt themselves by offending India, sir.
That's a valid point. Major Katoch, before we wrap up, looking ahead now, how should India also plan a counter-offensive? There's this lobby, this Wahhabi lobby that's at work. There is, of course, this anti-India bloc at work as well. How should India take it forward? What should be our counter-strategy?
You see, this anti-India lobby is really the Wahhabi lobby. So that is something which we need to counter. And I think we require a very effective perception management campaign, which I've been talking about for a very long time. Now, the question is, when you counter the Wahhabis, let us say if I as a military officer try to do it, people will laugh at me. You see, because I don't carry credibility in the Islamic world. So if you want to counter the Wahhabi ideology, then you require people from within the community, the scholars from within Islam, who must come out and speak. You need to give them adequate space in your media, especially in the audiovisual media. And once their voice starts becoming stronger and stronger, the other voices start becoming weaker. Now, unfortunately, we have not been giving those voices the requisite strength. If people like you and me start talking about Wahhabi Islam, nobody, please take it from me, nobody will take us seriously, because they will say they have to speak that way. It must come up from within the community.
Okay.
My problem, just one small point I want to give. You see, the problem really lies is that the Wahhabi, the lot may be small, but they are very vocal. And this small lot is actually wagging the dog. They are wagging the majority. And I've seen this phenomenon where a small group of people who are armed and well organized, they actually control the narrative. We need to break that nexus.
I'm completely out of time. I'm going to have to leave it at that. My thanks to all of you for joining us on this particular debate.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.